Hey guys, to keep myself accountable of studying poker, I'm going to make a new series, and this series is going to be me showing you how I study poker, especially for live poker, all over again from the absolute basics. Today we'll be showing you how the structure of this series is going to be. Then we will dig into raising first in pre-flop. So we will start with pre-flop, flop, turn, and river. And for pre-flop, we'll be doing raised first in versus 3 bets versus 4 bets against 3 bets, and then blind versus blind. Well, in our case, it's gonna be blind versus straddle. So first of all, to explain to you guys the format that we're gonna take, we will be studying the star Sydney format, especially for the 5-5-10 and the 5-10-20 game, with as you can see here, 200 BB deep, and the format we're going to be studying is without cold calls, and the rake we have set is NL25 rake, so it's going to be the closest that comes to the star rake. It's going to be 4% 6 big blind cap here, and in star it's going to be 10% 4 big blind cap. So it's going to be slightly lower rake in the star. So when we adjust our own ranges, we're going to be slightly more tight. And for the opening size, it's going to be 6 big blinds. The reason why it's 6 and not anything else is because there's a straddle, right? So with the straddle already being 2 big blind already, the opening, especially for most players in the star, they take a 6 big blind opening. So in the 5-10-20, it's going to be a $60 raised first in size. So now we will dig into the size, dig into the format, and we will be looking at how do we play raised first in by every position. So how we're gonna study this is by 3 sections, okay? First section is our tightest range, which absolutely is gonna be the under the gun position, and then we'll be studying our widest range, because as you can see, if everything falls through to button, we'll be raising a lot more than the under the gun. So after we study the tightest range and the widest range, we're able to memorize much less things for the positions in the middle. So for hijacks, it's going to be in between under the gun button. We're going to be raising a lot less suited kings and raising a lot less king x, queen x, suited connectors and pairs. But for the under the gun, it's going to be even tighter. So hijack comparing to under the gun, we're going to be raising a lot of more of unsuited aces, offsuit aces, and pairs, etc. So now, first of all, we'll be looking at our under the gun range and how GTO Wizard actually constructs these raised first in ranges is based on EV. So as we can see here, we'll dig in for pocket aces. We'll be looking at an EV of 21.15, which is the absolute highest, and for, I believe it's going to be ace 8 offsuit and ace 9 offsuit, and king 5 suited going to be the lower end of the EV, which we have 0.01. So for this hand, it's almost like, you are going to bin it, you're going to raise it, the results that you're going to achieve are not going to be that much different if you continue to play perfect strategy. But the issue is a lot of people don't play perfect strategy, especially post flop. So for me, especially in a casino with high rake environment, these hands are good to be binned, especially under the gun. So how these EV are calculated is in 2 ways. So first way is by coolering somebody else. So value, this we call. It's by winning a showdown. Gonna be winning against or trying to get called at showdown or trying to get called more. So that's the value range, right? So for hands like aces, kings, queens, etc., ace king suited, they have high EV. It's because they were more likely to win a showdown, or there will be more chances that will be value betting instead of bluffing. And the second way to win, to have a assign EV to a hand, is by making our opponents fold. So the reason why, if you have a look, ace 6 suited, ace 7 suited are all on 0.4, 0.2, and ace 4 suited 0.2, ace 8 suited 0.5, comparing to ace 5 suited 0.6. The reason why ace 5 suited is higher than these other suited aces, although some may even have a higher kicker than ace 5 suited, is because we use this hand as a bluff, as a 4-bet bluff. We incorporate this hand into a 4-bet bluff. Same reason why king 10 suited, king jack suited, and king queen suited have this EV is we incorporate them into a pre-flop 4-bet bluff. or a cold free bet, right? So they're gonna be our weakest cold free bets in the bluffing range. And that's how we assign EVs. So first of all, as a beginner or as somebody who is not too familiar with how they want to navigate post flop perfectly, we want to prioritize and tighten our range to these hands with the highest EVs. And here we have high suited aces, ace king suited, ace queen suited, ace jack suited, kings and queens, and a lot of higher offsuit aces. For me, the reason why these 5 offsuit aces are good, but you have to be still cautious with them, is because when you do get free bet, these hands can be putting you into unfavored spots a lot of the times. And then we assign, we want to remember this whole range, we want to assign hands into different groups. So now we'll start talking about each group. For suited aces, we have ace king suited to ace 3 suited. We'll be bidding all ace 2 suited, but in practice, especially against the 5-10-20 opponents, they will be 3-bet quite frequently. So for hands like ace 8 suited, ace 7 suited, ace 3 suited, and ace 2 suited, I will be only raising them at a certain frequency. For me, it's gonna be roughly half-half. And same for suited kings. So king, queen suited, king, jack suited, king 10 suited for me are 100% raise. And for the lower suited kings, I'm going to take a very small percentage of raise. Suited queens, queen, jack suited, this is the hand where it's suited connectors, it looks pretty, but for under the gun, it's actually a very low EV hand to be raising, because you are going to get outkicked sometimes, and the hands, when you do make a hand, you're not going to get paid off as much. You could be cooler by some suited aces and suited kings if you do make your flush, etc. So this hand is not that good, and especially we're going to be talking about removal effects. So queen jack suited doesn't have removal effects to a lot of our opponents' very strong hands like aces, kings, ace king, etc. And if you do get 3-bet, you're getting put into a very tough spot, because almost every hand that's going to 3-bet you has you dominated, or at least you're flipping at best against pocket jacks and tens. Now we're going to these offsuit hands. Like I said, ace king, ace king offsuit, ace queen offsuit for me is 100% raise. For me, ace jack offsuit and ace 10 offsuit are a bit of a 50-50. Okay, sure, you can cooler somebody else's ace x if you do both hit ace, but after all, they're offsuit. If they do face a 3-bet, it's 100% mandatory fold. So for these hands, especially in a very aggressive game setting, I sometimes just let them go on the under the gun. Pairs. So pairs on the contradiction are, I would actually like to raise them a bit more than intended as the GTO wizard. First of all, even if you get 3-bet with these pairs, GTO wizard always assigns them to a call because of the set mining effect. As we say, implied odds, right? If we do hit a set on the flop, which comes to roughly 12.4%, we will win a very large pot. And sometimes if the opponent has a very premium on a very dry board, for example, if he has aces on like a 9-7 deuce board, we will be stacking them with 9s and 7s. So for me, under the gun, I will actually raise a lot of the pairs until the 7s at like maybe 100%. And especially on these tables where people under 3-bet and overcall, giving us even better odds to be set mining. And even if we don't hit our sets on a against, let's say we assign our opponents as less aggressive than how GTO wizard would play, we can make them fold and achieve EV by bluffing, right? So although these hands are folding 0 EV hands, against certain opponents, we can make them plus EV if our assumption to how our opponents would react to us raising first in with pairs stays true. And that's about it for under the gun.